What should you pay an assistant? My name is Tim Francis. I've helped hire over 500 assistants all over the globe, including overseas and domestically, and I have a very clear answer for you. The answer is 20 to 25 US dollars for a mini-me style assistant. You might be thinking, what the heck is a mini-me assistant? A mini-me assistant is someone located in a similar or same time zone, has the same first language as you, and also has a native knowledge of your business culture. What that means is we're not hiring someone from a dramatically different part of the world. Now, if you're looking for someone to simply do repeated data entry or other tasks that are very, very repetitive, you don't need to talk to them much, don't need to collaborate with them much, they're never going to take over your email inbox, they're never going to take over your calendar, they're very kind of at arm's length, then sure, head over to the Philippines, India, or whatever is a third world overseas country to you for $5 to $10 an hour, and you'll find people who can process those kinds of tasks. I think what you'll find, though, generally speaking, is that's not where you're going to get the big lift in your day-to-day workflow. Where you're going to get the big lift is by getting someone who I affectionately call a mini-me. Someone who's not just a marketing assistant or a legal assistant or an administrative assistant or personal assistant, but someone who is a you assistant. Just like it doesn't matter whether you are mowing the lawn or closing a $1 million deal, an hour is an hour is an hour. And so in my mind, whether you're doing legal, marketing, sales, finance, or even possibly some tasks in your personal life, an hour is an hour is an hour. So why not optimize the entirety of how you spend your time? I think of the analogy of a surgeon in the room. The surgeon does not empty the trash, does not set up the room, doesn't get supplies from down the hallway at the hospital. They do one thing and one thing only, that's be the surgeon. Now, what does the surgeon do? They take care of strategy. What's the procedure we're going to do to fix this injury or this illness? They take care of high-level skill. They actually make the incision and do the surgery itself. And then they also take care of what I call high-level access. They have high-level access to their medical degree to be able to sign off on things. They have high-level access to other surgeons if they need to text other surgeons to get second opinions on tricky cases. The surgeon does not do setup, coordination, customer support, tech support, billing, basic research, onboarding, offboarding, any of these other tasks. The surgeon just doesn't do it. Now, obviously, you can't just flip a switch and suddenly do only surgeon in the room work and then do no other work. It's going to be a gradual process. I know for me, I had a marketing agency and then after that a consultancy. And for me, it was a gradual process to hand things over to my assistant. So if you're looking to get someone who's really going to optimize your time, I think it's very important that you remember this following quote. When it comes to getting help, being cheap is one of the most expensive mistakes you can ever make. My experience almost every single time I go to hire someone overseas is I end up extremely frustrated. The big gaps in terms of time zone, language, and business culture means far too often the work is not what I was looking for, or there's some kind of a miscommunication, and or sometimes they just disappear on me. And that to me is completely the opposite of what I'm getting an assistant for. If you think of your time as worth being at least $50 per hour, then every time an assistant makes a mistake and you've got to fix it, or they disappear, or there's a miscommunication, all of a sudden they're not $10 an hour overseas, they're now $60 an hour because it's their $10 an hour plus your $50 an hour. Now, if you are a coach, consultant, expert, author, and you're making more than $50 per hour, then that rate just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse for every mistake that gets made. Now, do North American assistants make mistakes too? Absolutely. We're all human. I think what you'll find, though, is your own personal level of frustration will come down dramatically the moment that you focus on hiring someone from a similar same time zone, language, and business culture. Now, if you happen to be in Australia or New Zealand, hire someone from Australia or New Zealand. If you're in the United States or Canada, hire someone from the United States or Canada. Those satisfy similar same time zone, language, and business culture. I think what you'll also find, this isn't as obvious, this is a bit of a more advanced insight, is when you have someone that's from similar same language, time zone, and business culture, all of a sudden you start to actually trust them more. You're not worried that it's a third world where they may have a rolling brownout and electricity may disappear, meaning your assistant now disappears. You don't have to worry about their legal system being so different than yours. So like a work contract and a confidentiality agreement suddenly doesn't work because in their country it doesn't work the same in terms of contracts and agreements. And on the other hand, by having someone who's located in a similar same time zone, language, and business culture, now you're dealing with someone where you could actually fly to them in the same day. If you ever needed them to fly in to help you for a conference that you're putting on, they could do that. They're much more, as strange as this sounds, it's like they're more tangible, if you will. And because they're someone that you likely will trust at a higher level, most likely you're going to build a deeper relationship with them. And I'm going to highly encourage that you make not a 5-hour-a-week commitment to them, but make a 15-hour-a-week commitment to them or more. And don't make a 30-day commitment to them. Say to them, I'm looking for someone for the next 3 years. Is this an opportunity that you'd be interested in pursuing and staying with if it goes well for 3 years? Now, obviously, you don't need to sign a contract with an assistant that says, I'm going to be with you like come hell or high water for 3 years. You don't have to make that kind of commitment. But psychically, we want to know that they want a long-term opportunity, and psychically, you want to be stepping into a long-term opportunity. And now you can see if you've got someone who's got great attention to detail, they're organized, they're tech comfortable, they want to be in a long-term role, they want to be an assistant, they're not just someone who's looking for a stepping stone opportunity, or they're not looking to just mentor under you so they can become you. No. We want someone who wants to be an assistant, and they want that long-term opportunity. And now you pay them $20 to $25 US an hour, and all of a sudden, guess what? Incredible things become possible. Because you've learned to trust them, they've proven themselves, now you can start handing off your email inbox. Now you can start handing off deeper and wider tasks. I know now, here I am, I've had my current grade assistant for 3.5 years, and my previous assistant was 6 years with me. And with each of those 2 assistants, because they were located in the same time zone, language, and culture, they wanted a long-term opportunity, all the qualities that I'm telling you about, it is incredible the amount of speed and leverage, and honestly how much my psychic load just lifted by knowing that I had a trusted partner in my assistant to take over so much of my day-to-day. They really allowed me to be the surgeon in the room because they were everything else. They were the nurse and the administrator and the janitor. They were everything else to me. So when you start thinking about getting an assistant that is of that caliber, holy smokes, $20 to $25 an hour is an absolute steal. And if for any reason you're still kind of feeling like, geez, $15 an hour or 15 hours a week and or $20 to $25 an hour, that's just so expensive, like you just don't know if you can do it. My question to you is the following. What is the opportunity cost if you do not get a high caliber assistant who can take over things like your email inbox? What are the opportunities you're not going to be able to go after? What are the deals you're not going to be able to close? And then on top of that, what's the impact that you're not making because you're stuck in your email inbox, you're stuck sending invoices to clients, or you're stuck doing all this administrative work instead of out there creating content, creating like one-on-one training sessions with your top clients, inventing new products and services, all the big things, the exciting projects that you got into business to be able to do, the difference you're here to make, and the income you wanted to make as well with it. If you're not doing that because you're stuck in your email inbox, are you okay with that trade-off? Now, if you're an entrepreneur that is making less than $100,000 per year, maybe it really is worth being your own assistant, if you will. There's nothing wrong with that. Just understand that the closer and closer you get to that 6-figure mark, and certainly once you surpass it, I think if you were to honestly do a sober assessment for yourself of just how expensive it is to have no assistant and how much even more expensive it is to get a bad assistant that's unreliable, that disappears, that is perhaps like confused or unclear on what needs to happen, I mean, you'll start realizing, goodness gracious, that this is all way too expensive and you need to invest in an assistant ASAP. I've been on both sides of the coin. I've been the entrepreneur making, only a few $1,000s a year, and I couldn't afford an assistant. And for the last 8.5 years, I've cracked the code, and I'm now working exclusively with right-hand assistants who are of the caliber that I'm talking about, similar, same time zone, language, and business culture. And I will tell you the 2 biggest jumps in my entire career in terms of productivity came from, 1, hiring a North American great assistant for me, and I'm located in North America myself. And secondly, was handing off my email inbox to them. And for that caliber of assistant, $20 to $25 an hour is an absolute steal of a deal. If you're curious to more, head over to greatassistant.com. We've helped hire over 500 assistants. And if it's not quite your time yet to check out greatassistant.com, go ahead and subscribe, like this video so that you can be up to date on all the other hiring tips, managing tips, delegation tips that I provide here on this YouTube channel. I talk a lot about onboarding an assistant. I talk a lot about training an assistant. I talk about where you can find an assistant. And I also will give you a ton of really cool productivity tips of how you can use your assistant to help you. Like how can they help you with travel? How can they help you with your inbox? How can they help you with your calendar? Lots of really amazing tips here. We've cracked the code on a lot of this, and we've helped over 500 entrepreneurs do the same. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.